Yep, we are at it again. Hello guys, welcome, or if you've already seen my channel before, welcome back. I'm the Philadelphia Whovian, and this is going to be another video about another one of my, book releases. Yes, those of you who have not seen my channel before, I am a Doctor Who writer who really wants to become a Doctor Who BBC novelist. It's probably never going to happen, but I still gotta try anyway because just keep buggering on. And my latest series is called 11's Continued Adventures. I've written 2 series before this one. 11's Continued Adventures takes place after The Time of the Doctor and before Deep Breath, where the 12th Doctor went back in time to halt the 11th Doctor's regeneration into him so they could both come together and save Donna Noble. That was in a previous book of mine, a previous series called The Time of the Companions. So that's why 11 has a whole series now after his last season when it comes to the show. The 12th Doctor's whole era still goes on the way it always was. It's just simply the 11th Doctor is living on borrowed time. Eventually he will go back to Translore and regenerate, but now he has more time. And when it comes to 11's Continued Adventures, I have a lot of previous books in the series. Yes, I've been writing this series for quite a while. That's how long most of the series is. And here's the next 2 books in the series. This one, and then the previous one I did a video on, The Sun Eater. And now we're talking about my latest installment that I've completed, A Portrait of a Highlander. Sorry for how bright it is, but it's a white book and there's sunlight everywhere, so naturally it just gleams. Oh guys, this one, A Portrait of a Highlander. This is quite possibly one of my favorite Doctor Who novels I've ever written, because it was just so fun to write, and which is weird, because of all my Doctor Who novels, this one I walked into with the least preparation, so I don't understand why it was so easy to write it. It just was. But the way the story goes is, there is a Highlander in the 16th century called Andrew Douglas. And before the story ever began, he got a hold of a vortex manipulator. Like, he was walking along the plains of Scotland and the Highlands, and there was a vortex manipulator just there. He picked it up, and after a lot of mistakes happening, he eventually discovered how it worked. And he has now a vortex manipulator that he allows him to go through different parts in history and time and alter if he so wishes. Now, when it comes to this, you think Douglas, okay, that's not a Highlander name, that's a Lowlander name. The Douglas clan was a lowland or borderland clan, but he is a Highlander. He is because even though his last name is Douglas, he was raised by the Frasers. His mother was Fiona Fraser, and she raised him amongst the Frasers, and that is a Highland clan. So, what is A Portrait of a Highlander? Like, what does Andrew Douglas, what is he doing in this story? Well, he's using the vortex manipulator to go back in time to different eras of his father's family, the Douglas clan, and he is killing any members of the Douglas clan who were nefarious or criminal or just disgusting, not only ancestors, his descendants even. His first victim is of one of his great-great-great-nephews in the future, who he discovers is absolutely horrible. He's going through history and cleansing the clan Douglas. And also, before you get offended by this book possibly, this is not, the way this is written, this is not in the beginning a portrayal of the way the clan Douglas is historically. It's a whole alternate history of the Douglas clan, and by the time the book is over, Andrew Douglas actually was the one who formed, or he was the one who shaped, the Douglas clan that we know in Scotland today. The real history of the Douglas clan, he's the one who actually brought it to that. So this original clan Douglas is not the historical one. What Andrew does to it makes it into the one that we know historically. So it's not me disrespecting the Douglas history. I respect the Douglas family as much as the Fraser family or any family in Scotland. I just like the Douglas family and I want to use them for the story. But by the time this story is done, the Douglas family is exactly the way it was historically. Okay, so We have a Highlander who has a vortex manipulator traveling throughout history, his own family's history, and killing or executing justice to any of the clan members in different generations who he felt steered the clan Douglas in a wrong direction. And then eventually the Doctor discovers what is happening, and it's him literally having to try and discover, or she's chasing after Andrew Douglas, and what you got is a cat and mouse situation of the Doctor constantly trying to find Andrew Douglas and make him cease what he's doing. And the reason why this was so fun for me is because Andrew Douglas is not a villainous character. He is one of the most... I know if you're one of those PC people, you're going to be offended with me saying this, because how dare I say this? He is a heroic character. And because we're in a world now where if you kill anyone, you're naturally bad, even if the people you killed were murderers, and it was more out of self-defense or defending someone who could not defend themselves, which is what Andrew Douglas does. He is going through history, and he's literally just trying to shape his clan because he thinks they can be a better clan, because they are just so hated amongst all the other clans right now. And he protects many people in the process, and over time the Doctor is beginning to understand this. But of course he has to keep on chasing after Andrew. He can't let this Highlander run throughout history changing what he feels is right, because by changing history he can make things worse in ways he did not foresee. And eventually he does catch up with Andrew, but this is after Andrew has finally achieved everything that he wanted to achieve, and the Douglas family is changed into what we know the Douglas family, the Douglas clan, is now. And the Doctor, at the end of it, he never hated Andrew. He couldn't hate him. As much as he's against killing, he understands where Andrew was coming from. And he understands that Andrew in his own way, because Andrew comes from a time where this is how you did things. You know, you didn't sit there and say, I'm evil because I killed someone. No, you executed justice in the best way you could. And this was Andrew trying to protect his family's name and protect the things that happened in the name of his family. And you have two heroic characters for me. Again, if you're one of those PC people who can't stand death or anything, if you think Andrew is not heroic, that's you. I loved him as a writer. Andrew Douglas and the Doctor, two heroic characters who were pitted against each other just due to circumstances. And this was one of the books where I literally, of all my novels, this was the least planned for. I didn't come up with the idea of writing a portrait of a Highlander. This book, sorry, I can see the title well, there it is, of Highlander. I didn't get the idea to write it until like maybe a couple weeks before I started writing it. And it ended up being one of the most fun books I ever wrote. It was very rewarding for me, and it also was wish fulfillment for me, because I've always wanted to go to Scotland so many years now, but I'm a writer. You know, any money I possibly save up immediately gets, you know, put into taxes or bills or into helping out family members. I have no ability to go to Scotland and visit Scotland, but all I have is going online, going on Pinterest, looking up Pinterest pictures of Scotland, especially the Highlands, and just looking at them sometimes. And that's my trip to Scotland on the computer, which is, you know, fine, but it's not ever going to be the same as going. And I might never get the chance to go for all I know. But I don't have to say that anymore, because I did go. When you write something, it feels like you went there finally. And this whole novel takes place completely in Scotland. And all the wonderful places I always wanted to go to in Scotland, I put in here. And it was very much like, finally, I mean, I didn't go to Scotland physically, but I went to Scotland in any other way you possibly could. And all because of this book. And that's why Andrew Douglas, the character from this book, will probably always be one of my greatest heroes of mine. Because he gave me a chance to go to the one place I've wanted to go for so long, but just didn't get the chance to go. And I know out there are some people who are thinking, oh, you're not Scottish or from Scotland. You might think, oh, that's not fair of you or right of you to write something that is so centered around Scotland. We writers, we are like everyone else. we're more than just what we are, and also, of course we like writing about different cultures. It's not because we're being disrespectful. It's because we care. It's because we love things more than just ourselves. And we want to be seen as equal, even if we're not you. So if you feel like, simple, of course, natural patriotic, or you feel like naturally, like, how dare you write something, a culture about culture that's not your own, I dare anything. I got to write about Scotland. And that was really cool. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm going to have the link below about where you can download my books for free. And it's copywritten, so it's completely protected. And as I said before in my previous video, guys, thank you so much just for watching the video. Even if you don't go to my website, just by watching the video, you have spread it further. And this helps protect me from anyone copying my work, because in the Doctor Who world, it is so easy for another writer. Again, I've said it in previous book series, previous videos of mine about my books. It is so easy for a more popular Doctor Who novelist or script writer, any part of any organization who works with Doctor Who, to take somebody else's work, revamp it, rework it, and then retweak it, and just say, here's a cool idea. And nobody's any the wiser about us other people down below who came up with the idea to begin with, because nobody respects us. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again very soon with another book release of mine, because I have another one I finished as well. Thank you guys so very much. I'll see you again very soon. You guys were great. No, really, you were fantastic.